Hello and welcome back to the Curious Mind podcast. So today is going to be a solo episode and I want to reflect on sort of my running journey because I think it can be very insightful for yourself with your current mindset and if you want to pursue running, and also the mistakes to actually avoid, the ones that I made which led to me burning out essentially. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to be diving into the ultramarathon where I ran 50 miles around my hometown, how running 31 miles was less harder. Less harder? That's a fucking word. Less hard than actually running a marathon and what it does to your confidence and how you feel about yourself. Some general basic tips with running too, like even reflecting on the half marathon I did with Will. But this episode's going to be like a bit of a story just with like some tips on the way. And yeah, like overall, I just hope you find it useful. So to start, I have asthma. So when I first got into running, I would actually get really out of breath and like taking deep breaths in, I would just start having a coughing fit. But as I've grown up, I've managed to grow out of that asthma. And it started with boxing. I would do like these like crazy 6 a.m. runs for like a sprint and then sprint back before school. And I used to think I was the top man. Yeah, no one cares, by the way. Like no one really cares about your achievements other than yourself. So make sure that you do it for you. But I started running back in 2022 and I picked it up because I wanted to get fit. And I remember this one time where I ran with my ex at the time and I decided to set the speed and sprint. And I was pretty out of shape by then, because of lockdown. I really wasn't considerate of my health, obviously, like relationship weight and all that. And I sprinted. And oh my god, the stitch I had in my left lung, I was sweating buckets, I was coughing, and I actually had to hit the emergency stop button, and like it literally felt like I was gonna die on the spot. It was awful. But from there, like that started as like an indoor run, and I genuinely remember like running 1 kilometer was actually difficult. But over the course of a few months, it's not something I particularly took loads of interest in. It was just something I did more sporadically in my journey. But then obviously I went through the breakup in like December 2022 and then got back with her in February and then January, sorry, and then broke up in February sort of thing. But that's where the running really took off. So I originally got into running because of David Goggins. So it was all about like self-worth, like proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you can imagine. Like the thought to me, like genuinely running like 10 kilometers didn't feel possible because it's just not for me. I'm not a runner. I've never been built to run. I've never done anything like this. All of these people running half marathon, I just couldn't relate. It actually felt impossible. And the thought of running such a far distance was just, I couldn't compute it inside my own head, right? But what happened was like, so obviously I got into boxing and I was doing my own runs outside of this. And it started off as like literally a 4K run out my block. And then I would build that up. So there was a general rule in the book I read from like Can't Hurt Me, which was like adding 10 to 20% of like to each of your runs. So you're constantly chasing that improvement and that improvement. Obviously I took it to the extreme where I ran fucking 80 kilometers at once, but that's for towards the end of the video. So that was that. But one of the biggest mistakes I made with running was the reason why. I was doing it from not a place of love and from a place of like that it would benefit me, from a place of like, yeah, it gave me confidence and yeah, I loved the feeling of like being on my bed and it made me feel better about myself. But it was also like deep down, it was also like to burn off food and like it would be a checkbox that would have to be ticked for me to feel okay about myself. And a moment I always reference is when I went to London with my mum to watch the Hollywood Vampires and we were at the Premier Inn and I couldn't run and I was genuinely the moodiest bastard for the entire weekend and I actually ruined that entire day because I just wasn't really present. I felt very socially withdrawn. And like my whole relationship to food and exercise, it's been a journey because I've realized like some of the things I used to do like really wasn't normal and I actually really took it to the extreme. But I'm not sure if I'm going to be talking about that on today's video anyways. But overall, like running had a massive positive effect on my self-esteem and how I viewed myself and sticking to my word and like building up that confidence and self-trust. Because essentially like each week I would just put up the mileage. Like it would start, what started off as like a 4K became a 5K, and then it became a 10K, and then I was like, oh my god, I can do 8 miles, and then I started getting used to the loops. But it got to the point where it became obsessive. I would like run almost every day, like 5-6 days a week, which from a recovery standpoint and for your joints is absolutely awful. And I probably only got away with it because I'm young and my body's like less tolerable to like getting injured fast, sort of thing. But it did get to the point where I got really bad shin splints. I think I messed up my IT band in my knee, where I substituted my regular 8 mile runs for the cross trainer because it was low impact. But so yeah, this is what I mean, where like in the middle of January 2023, like August, July, June, that sort of time, this was when it was peak, like this is not healthy sort of thing, because again, I couldn't feel okay about myself if I didn't do the run. So the first thing I want you to consider is like, why are you actually running? Are you doing it, or like, why are you doing anything, to be fair? Are you doing it from a place of like, oh, I want to be better and this is going to create a person I actually want to become? Or are you doing it out of a place of like hatred, out of a place of like, I don't like this person? And the fuel you use is going to be very important, because yeah, like it might help in the beginning, but it can lead to like some pretty poor mental health problems. And I've been on the back end of that. That's why I can talk about it, sort of thing. But yeah, I remember like, another reason why I ran so much is because like obviously I got my self-worth absolutely crushed in that relationship, out of my own doing, and it was because running was completely in my control. It was a way to prove to myself with like physical evidence, like, you know, you go to court sort of thing. It's like, no, I'm capable of like following through what I said I was going to do. So I think like, and obviously the endorphins attached, like even from like a scientific standpoint, like you do get like endorphins and rush and like dopamine, all that good stuff. So yeah, and then it got to the point where I was like, fuck it, I want to run a marathon. Because again, I was very inspired by Goggins at the time. So on the 25th of June, I think it was either June or July, I just sporadically ran a marathon. Because I found myself talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, I want to run a marathon, and like, yeah, it'd be cool and stuff. And I was just talking about the goal. But I got sick of my shit and I was like, nah, I'm running. Because like talk is so insidious. It is absolutely terrible. Within this context of like talking about what you're going to do, when instead you probably should just be doing it. And even recently I found myself like, I'm constantly talking about the goals I want to do, but I'm not doing it. And it's such a slippery slope because it's so easy to talk. There's even been science to prove it, like Huberman. He said like the more you talk about your goals, you can actually trick your brain into believing that you've done it. It's some mad stuff. I'm not sure what the particular chemical is, but anyways, it's the principle, like the more you talk about how you're going to do something, the less motivated you feel like you're going to do it, and you end up don't doing it. So yeah, like if you're gonna do something, like do it. Just follow through with your words. Like talking and doing the thing require the exact same resources, the time, similar effort. It requires your energy to actually think about. So you know what I mean, like, and keep it to yourself as well. Or you can use public accountability, like. But either way, I had to keep following through with my word, because I was like, I'm just talking about this, I'm never going to do it. So I remember I woke up, it was a hot summer morning, and I was wearing my cotton shirt, and I just ran. I literally just ran out of the bowl. Through and five, I was like, yeah, this is my fuel. Yeah, don't ever do that. Like, don't ever just sporadically run a marathon. I did somewhat train for it, but not very well. It was just like run and increase distance. I didn't do any tempo runs. It was just like long distance zone 2 stuff. So I just ran. And the first 8 miles, it was genuinely fine. I was sweating quite a bit. And then it started to get really hot. Like I'm talking like 22 degrees, like at 8 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm sweating buckets, but I have no clue what hydration actually meant. Because I'd imagine you'd believe it's like, oh yeah, just drink more water, you'll be more hydrated. When that's actually half of the story. Because hydration is a sufficient balance between fluids and electrolytes, right? And when you sweat, you lose sodium. And sodium is a very important electrolyte which helps regulate nerve function, stops your muscles cramping. It's also good for maintaining blood pressure. Sodium is incredibly important, and you sweat it out obviously in like salt crystals, which is sodium chloride. But anyways, so yeah, I sweated so much, and it got to the point where I managed to be like 14 miles in. I stopped off at a carb and I absolutely necked this Lucozade energy drink. And bear in mind, caffeine is a stimulant, and that makes you want to shit. So So I carried on running, and honestly, the joints, I was in a lot of agony, to be fair, because again, I didn't sufficiently train for this. My body, I think previously ran maybe furthest like 13 miles or 15, and like doubling that. And going back to the original point, by the way, the only way I got to that position was actually going out my comfort zone and gradually increasing it week on week. There was nothing special or fancy about it. It's just like I did something crazy and I just ran. And the only way you're going to find out if something goes fucking terrible is if you do it. Like, the only way to find out is through action, right? You can't, like, say something's going to happen if you've never tried it, sort of thing. So yeah, back to the marathon. So I ran round and it was genuinely so awful. Like, I remember getting to the third lap because I just did 3 laps around my hometown. So from where I am, I went to the end of Milton, around Southsea Beach, and then like around Gunwharf, and then like back home, right? And you can Google Maps that if you want, and it's just an 8-mile loop. And then on the last time, I remember it's just like my legs felt heavy and it was seizing up, my knees were all tender and sore, my shin splints. But there was one particular moment that was quite transformative, and that was when I got to mile 21.16, I think, and I had a chat with myself because I was in so much agony. I can't even describe the pain, and I don't actually describe it in sufficient detail to really help you visualize how much pain I was in. But I was in agony. Like, my lower back was hurting, I was tight, I was tense. I chugged down a fruit shoot. I literally I had a whole punnet of grapes, and then obviously eating so much food at a fast time is a really bad idea because all the blood flow goes to your working muscles and it takes it away from digestion, and that means you can't digest your food properly, and then you've just got a massive fucking sack of shit in your stomach. It's like I've learned so much from all of these mistakes. It's like like, please learn from this. Like, if you like, I didn't fuel throughout the entire race. I literally pretty much did it fasted. That is silly. I didn't even carb load the day before. So yeah, like, I did that, right, and the sugar, and then I had a bit of a crash, and I was like, but like, I had a moment, like, because I could see the path home. Like, I could actually see the path walking home. And I put myself in the shoes of walking home, and I could not live with myself if I quit out of pain, if I quit out of discomfort. I would not be able to live with that. I couldn't live with the regret of knowing, what if I pushed that last 50 miles? 50 miles? Fuck that. What if I pushed that last 5 miles? What if I just sucked up and got through the pain? So I literally took a knee, I had a break with myself, I leaned over this bin, and I was just like, fuck, I'm going to have to do this. I can't. I have to do this for me. This wasn't about the ex. It like, what started as to prove her wrong, and what started to prove other people wrong, and my old friends and whatnot. It actually came to, like, I need to do this for myself. I need to prove to myself that I'm actually going to follow through with my word. It doesn't matter what my mum thinks. It doesn't matter what the people around me thinks. I need to do this for me and my own self-belief and my own self-worth. Like, this is what matters to me. And then I managed to get the courage, and I just fucking sent, like, who's carrying the bows, and I got running again. It was a slog. It was painful. I remember feeling every step of the way. I can visualize it all now. But I refused to quit on myself out of discomfort. I refused. I made a statement, and I was like, nah, this is not happening. And I remember I finished the 26 miles outside of Tesco, and it was by myself. And I reflect on this moment because it was so important for how I felt about myself, and it changed everything. And I just started crying. Like, I literally started crying because... Can you hear that? Yeah, one sec. Sorry about that. Anyways, so I cried happy tears. I genuinely cried happy tears, and it's just because I know I did something hard and I didn't give up on myself, and it made me feel a lot better about me and who I was, sort of thing, because I was capable of not quitting in the face of adversity and difficulty, and that to me meant everything. And then afterwards, like, I was injured, like, I took a few weeks off, and then I just got back to running, but I was like, what next, sort of thing. So then I saw this, like, ultramarathon, 31 miles. I was like, oh my god, I want to do this again. Like, I love that feeling. And I'm just going to flash straight forward. I was a lot lighter when I ran the 31 miles. I was about, like, 3-4 kilos lighter, which makes a significant difference on your joints, how you feel, how agile you are. I remember doing the 31 miles, and relatively it was actually a lot easier because, one, I knew what to expect, and two, I trained for it properly. I knew how to fuel myself. I did the research when it came to carb loading, all of that. But yeah, like just some things like if you are going for long runs, like 45 minutes or an hour, or even just like a 30 minute and you sweat a lot, just make sure you hydrate and put some extra salt on your food or whatnot. Like it will make a huge difference. And don't just run like typically on an empty stomach. Like even if you have like a piece of fruit, like again, it can help just sort of regulate your blood sugar. Because like when I was at mile 21, my blood sugar dropped. My blood sugar dropped. I was nauseous. I was dizzy. I couldn't think straight. I felt sick. I wanted to give up. In terms of the experience of that race could have been prevented had I had the knowledge now, like essentially. But yeah, so that was that. And with the whole running journey, so like I made a promise to myself after I completed the 31 miles that I would run one more ultra before I turned 19. And I don't know why I did that, to be fair. And by this time I was starting to heal fully from the relationship breakup thing. And I just carried on running, but a few months passed, and I actually sent out an email to GB Ultras to see if I could compete in their like 50-mile ultra marathon race. And I knew, by the way, like I read their terms and conditions that you had to be a minimum of age 20 to apply, right? And I remember, I think I sent an email like, look, I'm 19, I'm 18, sorry. Like I've got, I've done this, and this, but like, can I apply? Because I wanted an excuse outside of my control to like permit myself not to do the 50 miles. Like, I'm going to say that again. I was looking for an excuse outside of my control to stop me taking action. And I got the confirmation, and I didn't train for the 50 miles for 4 months. I'm genuinely dead serious about this. I can show you the email, and I cannot believe I did that. But it makes complete sense because I was just looking for an excuse not to take action because it's something difficult. I didn't know if I could do it or not, right? That's a plane, not my bloody Hoover. So yeah, and then I was like, I think it was about May time. I was like, fuck. Like it's actually getting like to my birthday, and I actually haven't kept my promise to myself. So I started training for it. I had a coach at the time. His name was Ralph, sick guy, but I was doing my own running, like sort of thing. Is there any way I can pause this? No. No, you can't pause. Fuck. I'll just keep going. Anyways, so I started training for it, and it was like about 2-3 runs a week, and we started off as like maybe 8 miles because again I was fit enough to do it in that position. I started increasing it by 10-20%, 10 miles, and then it was like 12 miles, and then it was like 14 miles, then 16 miles. I didn't train enough for it, to be fair. I didn't even run a marathon in preparation of the 50 miles. Like, my knowledge of training for something that far is so naive. It's just like, it's just crazy. But anyways, I didn't have like a set date. I wanted to do it before IFS Ibiza. So Ibiza was, I believe, the 9th or 10th, 9th to the 12th of September. And I wanted to do it before, ideally, but I didn't. And then at Ibiza, it was an all-inclusive, all-you-can-eat buffet, and I made the most of it. I was at a 5-star hotel, and fuck me, when I tell you the food was so good, infinite dessert, infinite food, I've never experienced anything like this. This was mental. I was in heaven. Like, you could get unlimited nachos with, like, nacho cheese and stuff. I was like, what? Let's go. Fresh fish and everything. Like, I was like, oh, so I gained a few kilos after that, and I was like, fuck. My joints were hurting and stuff. I was like, oh my goodness, I put on a bit of weight. Like, and granted, a bunch of it was water, inflammation. A proportion of it would have been fat. But then after the week, I was like, right, I'm going to need to run this. And I couldn't run it that week because I felt very lethargic and tired. I took a break from training. And I was going to run the week after. I was like, nah, there's no way. But I found myself doing this fucking thing. I kept delaying it again and again and again, man. I'm like, what is going on? What is going on, Jaden? Stop delaying it. So it got to the 25th of September, and I was like, it was a random Wednesday morning. I'm like, I'm running this fucking ultra marathon today. I carb loaded the day before. I ate just plenty of pasta and just loads of food. And then on the morning, I decided to change up my nutrition strategy. I thought it would be a good idea to chuck in some oats for just more food, more fuel, more the merrier, right? Rather than just have my classic peanut butter on toast with a banana and like some honey and a bit of salt. Yeah, that porridge did not fucking digest. Oh my God, I went out for a run, and that was the most... the 50 miles was the most suboptimal like shit I've ever done. Like that was awful. So I started running at like 4 a.m. and it was raining. I had my like running pouch on me and stuff, like my running jacket, and then I just got going. And I remember like my lungs hurting for some reason. I struggled to breathe. I felt heavy and lethargic. Because by the way, I just ate and then I ran. Like I didn't even let time to digest the food, right? And then I just started running, and it was dark. It was cold. I was by myself. And I just started doing the 8 laps. This wasn't an official, like, I could have done something cool. And I could have done this for, like, I wish I did it for charity. I wanted to do it for men's loneliness, because that's something I struggle with and something I'm deeply passionate about. Because loneliness is, like, a fucking horrible thing, man. Like, connection is so important, genuinely. But, yeah, so I started, like, running, and I was like, this is awful. I actually feel fucking terrible. Mentally, like brain fog, I was tired. My sleep the night before wasn't good. Like I went to bed at like 11, woke up like a few hours later to run. I didn't tell anyone that I was doing this. I literally just kept it to myself, which I think is important to an extent. And then I just got up and go. And then on the first 8 mile loop, yeah, it was alright. I got through it, and I'm hurting already, like my joints, my legs and stuff. Like I'm just in pain. And then on the second time round, yeah, I had a bit of a toilet break, and it was chaos. I'm just going to be honest, it was absolute chaos in that toilet. I remember stopping at the pub, this is about probably 13 miles in, and it was havoc, absolute havoc. I'm like, this is the most suboptimal run. I bear in mind I'm wet, I'm like fucking sweaty. I've got just a bunch of squares bars in my Gymshark pockets and stuff. I've only got about like 7. And yeah, so I carried on running. I had like electrolytes though. I did prepare myself a bit better. My nutrition strategy was a lot better. Like I had my refreshers, like, are they called refreshers? Drumsticks. The drumstick sweets. By the way, just for runs, yeah, do not have complex carbohydrates during your run, generally speaking. Have very simply, like simple digestion stuff, which means it's not hard for the body to break it down. This is honey, essentially sugar. Squares bars, essentially sugar. Like it's very simple to break down. There's not a lot of fiber within them. Ripe bananas, so like where they go like almost like yellowy brown, that's going to digest really easy on the stomach. Bagels, but like I tended to stay away from, like, you would not want to eat whole grain. Oh my god, that would sit in your stomach and you would not be able to move. Crisps, again, you don't want high fatty stuff because that will just sit in your stomach for a long period of time. Like, you know, crisps and all of that. Like, yeah, the salt might help and it depends on the distance, but it also depends on you and what works best for you. This is why it's really important to experiment with your training. But like you can have fatty foods because, again, like fatty foods, they are very energy dense. But like, again, mid run, like if you had like a whole fucking slab of chocolate or a brownie, you might feel like shit. Like, I'm just going to warn you now. So yeah, just keep it simple with nutrition stuff. Like literally your bare basic carbs, sweets, honestly great, squares bars great, bagels, whatever. And you don't really need to fuel unless you're running for like longer than 45 minutes an hour, to be fair, and it depends obviously at the intensity too. But anyways, so yeah, so this whole run, bear in mind, was quite suboptimal, and I actually didn't have the same fuel as I used to before. Like, you know, I used to run out of like a lot of pain and hatred, wanting to prove the girl wrong and whatever, but this time around it was different. I was doing it for me again. Like from the start, and it was harder. And I remember doing just 1 or 2 laps. All of it was a bit of a blur because I just stared at a floor. So my mindset was like, just stare at the floor, like 1 step forward, keep moving forward. All pain comes to an end. Pain is temporary. Keep moving forward. 1 step forward, 1 step forward, 1 step forward. Keep moving forward. 1 step. Yep, just look down. Because if I looked down, I didn't have to see how far ahead was in front of me. And plus, like, seeing your hometown 6 times in a row is pretty shit and boring. So, anyway, so I did that. And that got me through a while. I think it was about... I was about 3 laps in, and I was like, fuck. So I've just ran a marathon at this point, and I'm like, I'm hitting a wall. I'm hitting a big wall. I'm not sure if it was like mile 33 or 39 or mile 40. I really don't know. But there was some point in that run where I looked to my left and there was a whole rain cloud coming, and I got absolutely drenched. And just before that drenched period happened, I was actually really upset I felt lonely, man. I felt lonely, and it was the similar feelings that I had attached when I was going through that lonely period back in 2023. Like, I was just running for hours. I didn't listen to any music. It was just me and my thoughts. Like, I've been running since 4 a.m. I'd look at people. No one knew what I was going through. Like, no one knew how much pain and agony I was. Like, my joints are hurting, my back, my feet, my ankles, my shins, my legs. My neck was sore, like, just from being so stiff and looking down all the time. I remember, like, messaging someone, a good friend, and she cheered me on to keep me going. She was nice. And she still is nice. But yeah, that helped. But I just felt alone, and it was predominantly me that got me through that. And then after I got drenched, I realised I couldn't do this alone. So I called my nan, and I stopped. I stopped running. My whole mantra is keep moving forward no matter what. But I stopped, and I remember my nan coming, and she gave me a hug. She came with my auntie, and she gave me a hug. And I didn't feel so alone. I didn't feel so alone. And bearing this time, right, my legs have seized up. So my joints within my knee, I can't actually bend my knee properly. Both legs are just completely fucked because of the cold, and because they're obviously my knees haven't been taken for like a whole range of motion. They were so sore. So that really hurt. And then yeah, I just got a hug, got a couple of sweets. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't cry. And yeah, like they helped me get through it, and they just sat there with me for like 10-15 minutes. And bear in mind, like the longer you wait and you don't run, the worse it gets, because the blood essentially all pools to the bottom of your legs, and then it's really hard to get that blood flowing again, like around your body. Again, fatigue and lactic acid start to set in. You're not really getting as much oxygen to help clear it. It's a bit of a shit show, to be fair, but I needed that, and I managed to muster the courage to get back up and running, but I was drenched. I was actually drenched. I had like my auntie's raincoat on, and it was fucking awful. My feet were soaked, absolutely like wet and everything. But yeah, I was like, nope. So I mustered the courage to start running. I ran for about 2 minutes, and I was like, nah, I need to go home. I need to go home. And I remember like calling back my nan, and she got me and she picked me up in the car and she took me home because I needed a warm up. Otherwise I would have got ill. I could tell for a fact I was going to get ill. There's no way I could have ran an extra like 17 miles with that in mind. No way. No fucking way. Not by myself. So I got home. I managed to walk up the set of stairs. And like by this time, by the way, it's like 4 o'clock. No, is it 4 o'clock? No, it's like probably 2 o'clock, I think. And I've been running since like 4 a.m. Like the total running time was 14 hours, but actual spent time on my feet was 10. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so 6 p.m. I finished, I think. Something crazy like that. So yeah, I got home, I got in a change of clothes, I had a bit of a word with myself, and I literally was like, this is so fucking hard. This is so hard. And then somehow I had my peanut butter bagel again, and I just got out and I ran. Because again, I couldn't live with the regret of like, what if, or like if I quit. And I probably had a bit of a mentality. It was like, I would rather just fucking like get myself hurt than quit. I'd rather be failed because my feet break, and that way I didn't quit. I didn't give up on myself. And honestly, running them, I think in a race like that, because the mentality wasn't like, it wasn't from a place of hatred. It was like from a place of like love. Like, I'm doing this for me. If I'm gonna quit, I want something to make me quit outside of my control. And that's because I was just so passionate about achieving what I set out to do. Like, it meant so much to me. So yeah, I got out. I got back out and running. I mustered the courage, and yeah, I did a lap. I don't even remember it. I don't remember the second to last lap I did. And or the last lap, to be fair. I was literally treading along. I was scraping my feet against the floor. And then by the time I got home, I had like 2 miles left, and I started running around like my home bit, and I did the same loop like 4 times. And my feet were genuinely dragging behind me. I'm drenched, I'm sweaty, I stink, I'm fucking tired, I'm hungry, I'm hurting. My knees aren't moving, my legs are stinging. But I just kept going, because the only ways forwards is literally running, and completing any distance is a matter of like 1 step forward. Literally, that is it. Like 1 foot in front of the other. What is my next best step? Fucking taking one. You know, it's not about focusing on the 50 miles and the end goal. It's about focusing on what is the best thing I can do in this moment to move the needle closer to me, to my goal. That sentence did not make sense, but the principle stands. And for me, it was just one foot in front of the other. Doesn't matter how fast I was going. Like, mate, my pace, if anyone knows running, my pace dropped down to 11 minutes a kilometre, I think, if I'm not wrong. I'm essentially walking, but I was still jogging, I was still leaning forward, my back was hurting. It was raining. It was, that like rain where it's like not pouring it down, but it's like just a weird drizzle in your face. Yeah, it was that, and it was like a wet September day, so just helped with like visualizing it. And then yeah, like I ran round, and then I completed it, and it was shit. It took me a while to realise this, but that's when I knew wins are better celebrated with people. For so long, I spent like proving to myself I can do things I set out to do by myself, for me, self-confidence and that, but I would have loved to just see someone at the finish line, waiting, had a friendship, like my mum, or whatever it might have been, just a hug. But it was very lonely. That 50 miles was very lonely. I messaged my nan that I finished and I called her, but it wasn't the same. And I'm in so much pain. I'm so emotional right now. And I managed to drag. Imagine, right, just a metal rod in your knees and you can't fucking move and it's agonising pain like every time you like take a step. So I stumbled my way all the way to McDonald's. I sat there for an hour. My phone died. I had like a load of food. Then I walked back. And then I actually had to like walk myself backwards up the stairs and like use my arms to carry me up because my legs would not bend. And then, yeah, I got up, walked up the stairs, mum made me food and then just went to bed. Had my dog wake up and I was in a lot of pain. I healed quite fast. I was quite surprised because probably I trained for it a bit better and also young. But yeah, like it taught me that the importance of people, the importance of connection, having people, like it's not actually a bad thing to depend on other people to help support you. Like it's how we've evolved throughout all the fucking years, like to actually depend on others and get through shit. I was also probably not the fuel that I was using, like the whole breakup and stuff, that died. Like it wasn't really getting me going anymore, and that's why I did it. And I set a goal based on my conditions back in December. So I felt like I had to do something. I felt like I should have because of a promise I made a year ago. Like I didn't really want to do it. I'm glad I did. I don't regret it, but like I'm glad I did. But that's that. I'm glad I did because I stuck to my words. I followed through what I said I was going to do. It's helped shape me as a person. I know what pain feels like. It's a good reference point for when I do like 10-mile runs. I'm like, yeah, this is nothing compared to what I've been through. There's so many advantages to doing something, but like I ran, it went from 31 miles, by the way, to 50. That's a 19-mile increase. I'm not doing that to flex. I'm doing that because I didn't have the fucking self-belief I could do it. The only thing I did believe I could do was actually tolerate the pain. And that's it. And I just put one foot in front of the other. Like it's nothing miraculous or special. It was just training and a mindset that did not want to quit. Who would not quit on itself? And there's only so much preparation you can do with your training. But when you get tested, like when fucking steel is put in the furnace, sort of thing, like metal's put in the furnace to forge steel. Like that's the way you get tested, through adversity, through difficulty. Do you break under pressure or do you continue to perform? And sometimes you do break, and that's okay. But sometimes you've got to really grit your teeth and just like get that bit of a dog outside of you or inside of you and just get them out. I think everyone has a bit of a dog in them, a bit of that competitive nature. And I used to see it as a really bad thing. Like, oh my God, it's like ego and all of that stuff. And sometimes it depends how you use it. It can be. But if you get that dog out to prove to you, like, yeah, let's fucking go, motherfucker, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? I'm going to actually prove to myself I can do this. Like, different, man. Different. And I'm trying to tap into that dog inside me a little bit more because he's a bit dormant. He's a bit complacent, if I'm honest. I'm trying to find new goals for myself, like MMA, like with the black belt and stuff. But yeah, like the mindset really was like, again, you're not meant to have the self-belief and the confidence to like think you can do things that you've never done before. It just doesn't make sense. You have no evidence to suggest you can do something, and the only way you're going to do it is actually embracing the emotions. Like, courage is not courage without fear, scared is not scared without being brave. And if you can get comfortable with that, and the first time's always the worst. Like, it's always you always make a worst case scenario inside your head. Like, you always do. You always think it'll be worse than what you actually expect. Because, again, your brain's designed to keep you alive. It doesn't care about how you feel. It doesn't care about your goals. Fuck that. Like, mate, if a lion, like, you want to explore a bush, right, and you're optimistic about the bush, and then you get eaten by a bear. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I just think bravery, courage, going out your comfort zone, focusing on what you need to do right now, not what you need to do in the future. I think it's just so important. But I burned out from running. I was like, what next? Am I going to run 100 miles? I didn't have the same fuel like I wanted to. And yeah, that was that. I kind of want to run 100 miles now, but I haven't really ran since September, man. I honestly haven't. I've done a half marathon. I like to know I have the body and the capabilities to run very far if I wanted to. I like that. I just stopped seeing the point in it. I've seen the same fucking hometown. I can literally close my eyes and do it inside my head. Like, so there are some of the things, and don't be afraid to enjoy it, to change it up. You don't have to not listen to music. You don't have to not listen to podcasts to forge mental discipline. You don't have to do any of that. You do what you want. Like, do whatever the fuck you want. Like, do what you want. Like, don't do what you think you should do. Do what you want. Like, that's one thing I think is very important as well. But yeah, it still doesn't feel quite real. I wish I could remember more of it. Maybe I shouldn't run around the same fucking city over and over and over. But yeah, like, that's the story there. And yeah, like, where I'm at now, I like being able to run. I'm not too bothered about running far. I reckon I've actually got really tight ankles because of how far I used to run. I used to have tight ankles before, but it's probably worse now. I'm surprised I didn't actually injure myself, but again, like, permanent damage. But yeah, like, again, it makes your body tight. You got to be, like, the thing is as well, I neglected recovery a lot. I didn't really consider recovery and resting and, like, plan it around my training sessions. Like, I probably impaired a lot of my progress to building muscle, getting stronger in the gym. Like, I would run and train on the same day. Some days I would do like a 13-mile run or like an 8-mile run, and then I would train legs straight after. Like, what? Like, fucking hell, no wonder why I didn't grow, because my muscles are constantly catabolic. So yeah, and recovery wise, like, just focus on the simple stuff, man. It's not complicated. Sleep, adequate sleep, manage your stress. Easier said than done for all of these things, but plan it in. Make sure you're prioritizing it. But, like, sleep is king. Sleep is absolute king, and making sure that you're not doing so much volume to the point it outweighs your recovery. But again, you can't have it all. That's one thing my coach told me. You can't have it all. You can't be a fucking black belt in MMA smashing it whilst building the most amount of muscle, whilst getting as strong as fuck deadlift. You can't have it all. Everything comes with trade-offs and sacrifices. It's just choosing the one that suits you best at that current time. But yeah, it was there's been a lot of growth. But the one thing I'm so thankful for all of the running is, like, it builds a sense of confidence within yourself that is only earned through experience and not just words and affirmations. I know I didn't do it from the most healthiest place to start, but fuck me, am I proud that I got started to do so. And I wasn't always motivated. God, was I motivated. I'm proud I just followed through with my words. I'm proud I just followed through with what I said I was going to do, because it builds confidence, self-trust. Like, you know you're going to get this shit done. Sometimes you need to be reminded than taught. But it's just basic commitments you keep to yourself. Like, if you're going to say you do something and you know why you're doing it, like, actually fucking follow through. And even myself, I've been making that mistake recently where I'm talking more than I'm actually doing. And that was a massive mirror held up to my face. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm going to fucking do something about it. And shut up and do more. But yeah, I think that's all from me. And even with your own goals as well, like if you can apply any of them nuggets to yourself, like I talk about fat loss as well. Like the only way you lose is if you quit. What's your next best step? You also got to know why you're doing it. If you don't know why you're doing the goals that you are, you're gonna struggle. The information is the same. You know, calorie deficit, protein intake, lift weights, train hard, etc. I think the most differentiating factor between people that get results and don't is just their mindset. What's their attitude like? How do they show up? Everything. It all matters. It all matters. But if you build a bulletproof mindset, and you do that through action, you do that through experience, you do that through evidence, like, you know, as simple as I park further away from the shops, or like I go for the run, or I do the workout. Yeah, you become different. But yeah, that's all from me. That's all from me. I've actually, oh God, I'm not sure if you heard that. To actually wrap up this video, I'm launching something new. If anyone wants to lose 10 to 30 kilos within the next 12 weeks, let me know and we'll get that sorted. Opening spaces for some coaching. And yeah, if anyone listens this far, it'll be 12 to 16 weeks of just locking in until the end of the year, and really get that ball rolling. And in case you're scared of wasting money, time, effort and energy, if you don't achieve your goal, again, I will continue to work with you for free until you do, and also refund that initial investment as well that you made into it. But yeah, time to achieve some fucking cool shit for until the end of 2025. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you for listening if you made it this far, and have a very good day.